Hey, you guys remember this guy? Some people like him. Some people really, really like him. It's you guys get a hold of yourself, people. Like, it's all right. So this is Paul Washer, and I'm not. I don't know why I'm doing like so much like Friends stuff. I didn't even watch Friends, but I'm not a big fan. I'm just not. I'm just not. I'm sorry. I've never been. It always sounded like he was about to cry whenever he started talking, and I know that's just him. I'm not trying to make fun of the guy, but I don't have to listen to him if I don't enjoy listening to him, right? Like, so I'm not like saying like, oh, making fun of his voice or something. If that's the way he talks normally, cool. For me, I'm a pretty stoic guy. I know I don't seem like that when I turn on the camera and everything, but as soon as I turn this thing off, this is what I do. And everyone is always like, Dean's mad about something. He's so angry right now. It's just like, nope, I'm just trying to think. this is just what I look like. So like I'm a pretty stoic guy. I don't get super emotional when I preach, and he does, and that's always kind of bothered me. So I'm not the biggest fan. So I'm just letting you guys know that before I get going on this thing. But I saw this, and I gotta say, this is just crazy to me. And I tweeted about it, and like everyone in life saw this tweet. I don't know. My stats right down here, you can't see it, but it says 52,000 people have seen this tweet, which to me is a lot. I know, like some of you guys are like, I tweet what I had for breakfast and it had like 100 likes, and it's like, cool, but I don't ever get that much play. So 52,000 viewed this tweet, and lots of people were not happy with me about this. But I'll show you what Paul Washer said, and I'll show you my tweet.
So many people, especially young men, the last 15 years saying, I'm reformed, I'm reformed, I'm reformed, I'm reformed. They didn't even know what that meant. They thought being reformed is that you had some academic grasp of Calvinism. Being reformed is sola scriptura. Scripture alone. So many people, especially young.
So, a couple things right off the bat. All right, let me get the obvious things. Being reformed isn't just sola scriptura. Like that's not the all-encompassing. Like, all right, now you're reformed because you believe in sola scriptura. That's just being Protestant, yo. So like, I don't know, I'm sure that there's a bunch of context to this, and he probably gets into more detail about what he means by that and blah, 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 all the caveats in the world, throw them in here. But in this clip, when I originally saw it, I was like, wait, what? And then he goes on to explain it, and there's more stuff. You can go online and find more stuff about that on Twitter. But that's not what it means to be a reformed. But then he's like throwing shade. And this is what I tweeted. And who were listening to, who were they listening to, Paul? You? I'm so over the leaders of the Young Restless Reform complaining about their own movement. They enjoyed the platform it gave them, but now act like we don't remember they were the voices of the whole dang thing. So he's like complaining about the Young Restless Reform movement. And I've seen this with him. I've seen it with MacArthur's camp. I've seen it with so many of these guys who are now moving toward like this weird version of fundamentalism. Like they're headed that way. And maybe they always were. That's something that I've just like considered over the last year. Like, I'm like, have these guys changed that much, or was I just different? Maybe I was just different, but they all are in that camp now. Think G3 Ministries, all of that. They're over there. And all these guys are complaining about the Young Restless Reform movement. And I've seen this, like I've gotten a lot of people that I never wanted. I got Gabe Hughes hopping into this. Like, oh my goodness. Who let that guy back on Twitter? Man. But like all those kind of guys are, coming at me, and I'm mostly ignoring it instead of making a video about it. But like they're all upset, and they're like talking about how the Young Restless Reform movement was TGC, and T4G. And it's just like, wait, what? And they're like, no, Paul Washer was never a part of it. And John MacArthur was never a part of it. These guys always critiqued it. And it's like, okay, I'm sure that they probably did say some things. I know for a fact John MacArthur said some things about Mark Driscoll. But to act like they weren't a part of the Young Restless Reform movement is super crazy to me. I'm not even going to play the audio clip because it's too much. Like, I don't understand what people are talking about, because they were. John MacArthur was one of the main guys with the Young Restless Reform movement. It's why his Shepherd's Conference got so big. All right, I'm sure it was big before, but it boomed. All of these institutions that got started, it wasn't just because, okay, now we know who D.A. Carson is. You know, like, why do we know who D.A. Carson is? Because of people like this. Because Paul Washer, because John MacArthur, because a lot of these guys, Mark Driscoll too, it wasn't all good, okay? And I'm not saying that it wasn't all bad either. But these guys were the voices of the Young Restless Reform movement. They were there. They were the guys that people were listening to, guys my age. Now, again, I didn't listen to Paul Washer, but there were other guys like him. I certainly listened to John MacArthur. And like, to say like, oh, they like, this is the problem with the Young Restless Reform movement. It's just like, they were listening to you, bro. Like, you're complaining about your own movement as if you didn't belong, or we don't remember that you didn't belong, but you went to all the events. You spoke on the platforms of these things. You wrote the books. You gave the sermons. Like, this guy is the one who gave like the, what do they call it? The something youth sermon. When he's like, I don't know why you're clapping. I'm talking about you. Like that's him. Like he's one of like if there's a spearhead, he's on it. All right. As far as the Young Restless Reform movement. And now like he's saying that he's not. And all of his followers are saying that he wasn't. And it's just driving me crazy, to be honest. It's like, why we're so revisionist. Like they claim all the other guys they're the ones with the revisionist history. And then they're just like, yeah, that didn't happen. What? The early days of G3 weren't a part of the Young Restless Reform movement? What? John MacArthur didn't speak at T4G? What? John MacArthur, until like 3 years ago, like right before the pandemic, like they were going to do a Gospel Coalition West conference. And it was going to be at Grace Community Church. Like, these guys belong to the camp. And they're just like, nope. You don't know what you're talking about. Are you serious? Are you going to blame Paul Washer? And that's something I got asked a bunch. Are you going to blame Paul Washer for the Young Restless Reform movement? I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying he was there. Like, what is going on? And they love like things like the American Gospel and Lensphere. What's that guy's name? Les Lensphere, whatever, with the Reform Pub. He started making documentaries, and they love like the Calvinist documentary. And it's like, did you guys like, you love these things? Do you guys not remember them? Because like he was there. And to just be like, no, the Young Restless Reform movement is only the Gospel Coalition and T4G. And it's definitely not, G3 that got started at the same time, who had the same people come and speak, who wanted to be in the same camps and then didn't make it, into those camps. It's just, what? He doesn't belong? Like, if you're like, well, he's just critiquing his own camp. Okay. I think he's trying to like, be like, I'm not a part of this. But all his followers are not saying that. They're saying he wasn't there. I don't even know what we're doing anymore. Like, can we not like just be reasonable? Like, if you have opinions about, okay, well, yeah, he's just critiquing his own camp. That's one thing. But then just to be like, no, and he didn't even belong there at all, ever. And it was always bad, and he always said it was bad, and he never did any of the conferences, wrote any of the books, got any of the money for what? But that's what they're doing now. And the G3 guys, I think, are probably doing the exact same thing. They're just like, no. We've always been different. We've always been separate. What? No, you weren't. Like you are now. Okay, sure. Now it's different. But don't pretend like back in 2006, like that you weren't trying to get into those rooms and be a part of those conversations. And for him, don't pretend like you didn't give those sermons and spoke at the conferences. Like, guys, I don't know what's happening. This is just so weird to me. But everyone's upset because I pointed this out. Oh, sorry, didn't see you there. Didn't think you were going to watch the whole video, but you did. So that's good. Probably means that you like the video. So hit the like button before you click over here. Maybe YouTube is going to have a video over here for you to watch. Right here. Just for you.